And hello all, and welcome to another live stream today. I'm your host, Rob, from Cruising on the High Seas. Welcome in all. Today we have a good agenda lined on up that we would like to talk about that's going on in the cruising world. Let's turn on over to the chat and welcome on in some of our viewers. First in the chat today is Tyler from the Tyler Show. Hello, Tyler. And so far, that's all we have sitting in the chat. Once you come on in, don't be afraid to type on in, say hello, and let's not forget to smash that like button so YouTube knows I'm putting out awesome and great content for all you cruise lovers. Today on the agenda, we are going to be talking first about how did the court case from the CDC versus the state of Florida. Luckily, we won that court case in the state of Florida. The judge ruled in Florida's favor that the CDC could not mandate restrictions down on what they need to do to get restarted. That is fantastic news. But the CDC still can put out guidelines, and they have up until July 3rd to state some of the guidelines, and they have to propose it to the judge by then. And then he will make a decision upon what he thinks is deemed reasonable at that time. Let me know what you guys and ladies think about that judgment. If you agree with what he has done so far. And in the next, I would like to cover is how did Royal do on their first cruise out of NASA? To date, I have not heard any reports of any cases that did occur on that cruise, and it went off without a hitch. So that is fantastic news. And that cruise was a fully, yes, I said fully vaccinated cruise. So, which brings me to the next question I would like to ask you all. Would you want to cruise on a fully vaccinated cruise or not? And if so, let me know the reasons why inside the chat. And if you are watching the replay, please leave your comments in the comment section down below. For me, I would definitely want to cruise on a fully vaccinated cruise, as the restrictions and guidelines will be very slim to none. For example, you may not have to wear a mask while about exploring the vessel of the ship. But let me and all the other viewers know in that comment section or the description bars down below in the comment section below there. On the Celebrity Millennium, unfortunately, there were 2 cases on that cruise out of St. Martin. But they did take their protocols and put them into action. And the cruisers still enjoyed their cruise. So, that is not bad that they are proving to the CDC that they have the correct protocols and nothing else has came out of that current cruise. Now we're going to be flipping on over to Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas. That one has me a little puzzled. And I would like to see if you guys can try and help me figure this one on out. And what are your guys, and ladies of course, thoughts about this one? On Freedom of the Seas, you have a few options. You can declare if you have been fully vaccinated or not. And if you refuse to declare upon your vaccination status, then you would apply to the rules that are associated to non-vaccinated cruisers. So, as one of my friends who is also a creator on YouTube, his name is Don from Don Family Vacations, he compared it basically to the Titanic. And no, not in this sense of the way as the ship going down, but as in tiers of classifications. It's either you are first class or are you stewardess. That's how he compared it. And when he compared it like that, I could not argue with him on that one. And what I'm referring to that one is, if you declare your vaccination status and you are fully vaccinated, then you are basically free to roam the ship without a mask. And you will have a very special bracelet, something like this one here, but not this, but something similar to this. And people will know that you are fully vaccinated. But if you refuse to declare your vaccination status, or if you're not vaccinated, then you have a completely different protocol that you have to obey by. And you get your card stamped, like a little hole punch. So, and additional to all that is you may be restricted to some activities that you may or potentially may not be able to get to do just because you're not vaccinated or you refuse to be vaccinated. On top of extra testing at your own expense. So, in a way, it sounds like you are separating first class to stewardess, and that one is better than the other. And I like the way how he did it. Basically, kind of picking on, well, maybe not picking on, but like, you know what I mean, like stereotyping that, ooh, you haven't been vaccinated. Maybe you got germs or something. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching the replay, or in the chat if you're watching me live here today on YouTube. But I'm interested to see and hear what your guys, and ladies of course, thoughts are on this topic. Because for me, I would enjoy the cruise if I was restricted to what I can and cannot do. Let's turn on back over to the chat and see if we have any comments in the chat. Tyler is saying, I just can't wait until we get rid of these two-tier systems. I totally agree with you. With RCL, I am now looking at sailing MSC now because of restricting other cruisers from seeing other things on the vessels. I totally agree with you. And I'm just curious, what cruise lines have you been on so far? For me, I have only been on 3. Yes, 3. It was supposed to be 4, but that COVID put a stop to my current cruise that was supposed to be happening, and potentially the 5th one too, which is this October, but I will get those ones rescheduled. Don't you worry. But all of them have been on Norwegian Cruise Lines. Next year, September and beginning of October, I will be making a switch. I know. Dun, dun, dun. Over to trying Carnival out. And to my opinion, I think so far, Carnival, out of the 3, Carnival, Norwegian, and Royal, Carnival Cruise Lines has the best protocols out there. They are doing the 95 to 98% cruise rate. And we're going to talk a little bit about that 95 and 98% a little later in today's show, as I have some questions and theories, we'll say, on that one. But Tyler, I definitely agree with you. Right now, Royal Caribbean's protocols are a little puzzling question. Like, I don't understand them. But let's see if we can figure them out together. And the next thing that we definitely want and need to talk about, which is related to restrictions, is excursions. What is going on with excursions? Well, the question here is, are you vaccinated or not? Because that's what it comes down to with excursions. And if you're fully vaccinated, depending on the cruise line you are with, give me just 1 second. Let the little whistle. Depending upon which cruise line you are with, you may be able to go out and explore the port of call if you are fully vaccinated without booking through the cruise line. But if you're not fully vaccinated, or maybe you deem you don't want to declare your vaccination status, if you want to explore the port, it has to be booked through the cruise line. Do you think that sounds fair? To me, I can say yes on one end, but I can definitely say no on the opposite end. So that can be a puzzling, and I'm on the fence on that one. So let's talk some more about that in the chat bar or in the description down below. But when it comes to excursions, it all depends upon what cruise line and what is your vaccination status. To me, the best answer is if you can get vaccinated, please go get vaccinated, as this will definitely help you in the long run with the way how cruise lines are going with their protocols. Because if you are paying thousands of dollars, and we know cruises, they're cheap, but they're not that cheap. If you're paying that kind of money, then, you definitely want to be able to do what you want to do and not be restricted to it. So, if you can, please get vaccinated so you can enjoy your cruise. Now, let's turn on over to that 95 and 98%. What are your guys, and ladies of course, what's your guys' thoughts about that 95 and 98%? And before I forget, if you haven't done so yet, please consider smashing that like button. And if you're new to my channel, please also consider subscribing with ringing that bell with the notifications set to all. And of course, we need to make sure we share out all my videos to your friends and family. And of course, let's spread it across the social media so we can expand this channel. And Tyler is asking me a question. To the question, Rob. I have done 11 cruises. You've done 11 cruises on all Royal Caribbean. So it sounds like you are loyal to Royal Caribbean. For me, so far, I'm loyal to Norwegian Cruise Lines. But like I said, I will be making a flip to Carnival in September and beginning of October of next year of 2022. But referring back over to this 95 and 98% vaccination rate, 95 passengers, 98 crew. To me, this 95%, it could have its benefits and disadvantages to it. If you are traveling with a family and some of them cannot get it because they are maybe not old enough to get the vaccination, or maybe medically they cannot get it, then that could damper and maybe cancel your cruise because you aren't able to get on the cruise. And then that could potentially, because if you drop out, say it's you and your partner and two of your kids who are under the age of 12, and your partner has been vaccinated, by you two dropping out, that lowers the bar on your 95% and increases that 5% of more people able to get on board. So just keep that in mind. So that could make a big difference. So eventually, you could have a lot more unvaccinated people on board than if it was fully vaccinated at the 95. and have the less of the 5%. But let's turn on back over to the chat and let's see who's also joining us in now, the live stream. I would like to welcome in the Down Under Cruisers. I know your name and channel, but I just can't think of your name at the top of my head. But welcome on in. And Tyler is Sean. There we go. How could I forget that name? I know a guy named Sean. Very nice guy. Same as you, as the Down Under Cruisers. A very nice guy. And Sean from the Down Under Cruisers is saying hello to him back. And they're just chit-chatting back and forth. And thank you, Sean. I just remembered by Tyler reminding me what your name is, but thank you so much. But like what I was talking about, that could damper your vacation, and hopefully you have planned your airfare, if you did use air, through the cruise lines, as I would not be happy if I have to pay extra costs out of my own pocket to get back home just because I wasn't able to get onto the cruise, because I was not chosen as one of the few of that 5% that cannot get on board. But let me know what your guys and ladies, of course, thoughts are on this topic. If you'd be happy or unhappy, and what would you expect the cruise lines to do for you in recouping your loss of not able to get onto this cruise? And you can, of course, do that in the comment section down below or in the chat if you're watching me live here today. All right, so we are going to turn on back over to the chat. Nothing new in the chat. And of course, if you would like to join me live up here on the screen today, now is your opportunity. Just let me know and I will bring you on up. You can be up for as little or as long as you wish. The more, the merrier. Just let me know and I will send you the link. No better yet, I can send off the link right now. And here is the link coming to you right now. So here is the link. If you are interested on coming on up, it is totally on up to you guys and ladies, of course. All right. Now, this one I find interesting, and I kind of like it to say. It is the tracking devices that the cruise lines are talking about handing on out to you, to all of you, when you board the ship. So, but the thing is, you need to remember to have it. So, is having an actual tracking device that you have to say put around your neck, like on Viking, going to be the best? Or is it better just to make them do it where it's like, say, a watch. And that gives you access even to your room and to pay for items. So it kind of forces you to have it on, and you can't leave without it, or you kind of will get locked out of your stateroom. Let me know what your guys and ladies, of course, thoughts are on the tracking devices. We have some more conversation going on over in the chat. Let's take a peek what's happening on over here. Tyler saying everyone here, everything on BPL health and safety measures so far when it comes to testing so far. I have been following it for a while and still have not heard anything, even with the test cruise coming up. That's true. Absolutely correct. Rob, I would love to come up, but I need to get to work now. Just keep up your great work. Anytime. Thank you so much, Sean, from the Down Under Cruises. Just send me an email off. When is a good time for you to come on up if you would like? And I can arrange to have you as a guest on my live stream. I go live every Tuesday right now at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are ever interested on coming on up, just let me know for a future show and I can arrange a date for you to come on live. You can find all my details in the comment section down below in the description bar in all my videos and live streams. But back over to the tracking devices. I think the best way is to make it like a watch, because then that will force you to have it. Or even if you do it like the way how Viking is, have it set where it is also your form of payment and access to your stateroom. Because if you have it as just a tracking device, and then you got your card that you use to pay and get into your stateroom, you can easily, and I know myself for sure, I could probably do it very easily, leave that tracking device in the stateroom. And then what good does that do it for me? So that, I would say, just combine them into one, and it kind of forces you to have it on you at all times. Or even just make it where once they put it on, it stays on you, and they make sure it's water resistant, it can get wet, and there's no way you can take it off until they take it off. All right, let's flip back over the chat. Sean is telling me a message. Awesome. 5 p.m. Eastern right now is 7 a.m. my time. Yes, because you are in Australia, if I am correct. Usually that would be okay. So good morning to the Down Under Cruises. So to me, I think that would be the best route to go for the tracking devices. Just combine them into one. But let me know your guys and ladies' thoughts in that chat next to you, right over, I guess it's more this way or that way, whichever way it is, or in the chat below if you're watching the replay. Finally, we are approaching the masking rules. Like, what's going on with the masking? Would you want to cruise on a cruise line that you need to wear a mask while you're exploring the ship? Inside, I'm referring to. For me, I would not be too crazy, we'll say, but I would do if I have to, wearing a mask. But personally, I'd rather do it like how Adventure of the Seas this past week out of NASA did it, where they traveled with a fully vaccinated crew and crews and not have to wear a mask. So to me, I think that is the best way to cruise. But let me and the other viewers know in the chat. And the last thing on the agenda we are going to want to talk about here today is talking about Odyssey of the Seas. As we all know, excuse me, and just give me 1 second. I do see we have somewhere in the below. Are you good to go, Tyler? Give me a thumbs up. Let's welcome on in Tyler.
Hey, Rob. How's it going?
Give me a second.
Hopefully the connection stays put. If I do lose you, because we're during a big storm right now and the Wi-Fi's been a little bit crazy, but just want to
Pretty
pop
good.
on
Just
in
give me
here,
1 second. I'm just getting a little echo on my end.
All right.
All right, there we go. I think I got rid of that echo.
Yeah, echoes are always a problem when doing live streams. I know that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I had an extra screen up because I could see comments up here. For some reason, as you see, I'm using live stream. I see comments pop up here on YouTube first, and then all of a sudden it pops up on live stream. So we're always on a delay for some reason.
Yeah.
So
I know that's for sure.
yeah. So anyways, welcome to my live stream, and you are my first guest.
Hey,
so
good to be
welcome.
here. Good to be your first guest.
Yes. So, what is your thoughts on the restart of cruising?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, hoping to get on the MSC cruise, as I was saying earlier. Hoping to get on either the Divina or the Magnavilia. Also hoping to do Bahama Paradise. Have to wait and see what their protocols are. I was hoping to do Royal Caribbean, but with those new protocols, I'm not a big fan. I love Royal Caribbean, but those two-tier system, I'm mad at them for that. I mean, I get it. It was probably CDC making it, but I mean, just the venue part. The masks, wearing the mask the whole time on this ship, or maybe you have to do ship excursions. I don't really care about that. But the two-tier, you can't show up for the disco party, or you can't show up to see the ice skating show. That kind of was like, nah, I don't mind. That's crossing the line for me. That was the line in the sand that Royal Caribbean crossed. That went too far. Pay for testing, I understand. They have to make money somehow. They can't afford to pay for everyone's testing. So I totally get that. But again, I disagree that two-tier with you can't coming to every venue, that was crossing the line for me.
Yeah, like when I heard that, and the way how I actually found out was off of Don's Family Vacations. He was before that, and I went like, what? And I was telling my mother about that, and the way how he classified it was towards the Titanic, and not, of course, going downwards, but like first class versus storage. Like, to me, that's not the answer to saying you cannot do this because you didn't do this. So.
Yeah, I agree. That's the thing that crossed the line. Testing, paying for it, wearing the mask, that's all fine. But yeah, you saying you can't show up to this, that was crossing the line in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they should either take the 95% fully vaccinated, you have to have it, or have it where most people can go on and they can enjoy a cruise with. But crossing the venues, that's too much. But again, that's my opinion, and I do think though it is if they are you are unvaccinated and you are cruising, yeah, I totally get it. You should wear masks, testing on your own expense, shore excursions, ship excursions. You can't run yourself. Totally get that. But again, as I'm mentioning, saying you can't show up to the disco party or something, that's crossing the line. So
Yep, totally agree. And what's your opinion on what's happening with Odyssey of the Seas?
yeah, so the testing, this is interesting because of course I saw the Odyssey come into Port Canaveral for a first inaugural call when the Mardi Gras was there, which of course you can see has my backdrop right behind me. But
Yeah.
yeah, so what happened now with the crew, supposedly with the Johnson vaccine, supposedly it's a live shot, so that means that the crew still have the vaccine, some of it in their systems, so it could be picked up with the testing. That's what I heard. Can't confirm if that's actually 100% true, but yeah, again, the crew are going to be getting the virus and these tests, especially when they get the vaccine, because that's supposedly how the vaccine works. Again, not quite sure, but yeah, it's good to see Royal Caribbean though taking the precaution of waiting a little bit. Definitely very, very good with that. But yeah, hope to see Odyssey sail hopefully July the 31st, which I think is very interesting. And that comes back to the big statement that happened in Port Canaveral on the 4th. Did Royal Caribbean do Carnival dirty?
Yeah, that would be a very good question. As Tony asked that question, they do them dirty?
Yeah, and you know they came into Port Canaveral on the 4th, the Mardi Gras on the Odyssey. While they're going to their first sailings, Mardi Gras is going to be on July the 31st, and so is Odyssey's. So it is interesting to see how it's going to play out with the battle of the two new cruise ships in North America.
Yep. Like when I heard about Odyssey of the Seas, that positive cases came up. It's like, oh no, what is about to happen there?
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, the thing is, people are going to say the media has to literally stop doing this. Is every time we see a positive case on a cruise ship, it's going to happen. Okay, we can't say this is the protocols are there not to prevent the virus from being on board. It's just to deal with it when it does come on board because it will. We all know that's for sure. But the goals are to make it as low as a threat as possible. So. Yeah, again, we're going to have these cases on board. Like we had the Celebrity Millennium a few weeks back. That was, again, due to the U.S. coming back to the U.S., you have to get those testing. And overall, the protocols worked. People went around the ship, going to the bars after two people tested positive with no worries in the air. They were just back to normal cruising, no mask or anything. They just kept on going.
Yep, I totally agree with you. And like the media, they need to stop blowing up these little small issues, like two cases, like and just blow it on up and make it seem like a big deal.
Yeah, the thing is that like with cruising, like two cases on the Celebrity Millennium, but at the same time, the media outlets that reports that don't report the two cases at the local pharmacy or something, for example. So
yeah,
and they make it sound really worse than it is. Like I was watching Inside Edition, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, 2 cases on board, end of the cruise industry again." Well. Of course, that wasn't the case. As you see, the Adventure kept on sailing the week after, and ships still keep on planning to restart.
Yeah, because to me, the answer is no matter how much protocols you have in place, you're still going to have issues, situations that are going to happen. And then it really comes down to is how do you, as the cruise line or wherever the issue is, how are you dealing with it?
Totally agree.
And if you're dealing with it correctly, then you should be good. But now if you're not taking the correct measures, then I can see the criticism and blowing it up.
Yeah.
But as long as you're taking the right measures, why blow it up?
Like a point I heard today with Royal Caribbean, of course, they just conducted the test cruises on board the MV Freedom of the Seas, is that if they do get cases on the Freedom, you can't be like, oh no, the CDC didn't do their job correctly because they did the test cruises. The CDC hopefully is going to approve that they did all the protocols right. So, I mean, there really is no reason for the media to be like, oh my goodness, 2 cases after routine testing on board the ship. So.
Yeah, and a good while ago, I would say about 2017. You might be able to recall the year it was, but where that young guy decided to jump off of a Royal Caribbean ship. I just can't remember which ship it was at the top of my mind, but to me, the media blew that one up too.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your thoughts? Do you think that gentleman should be banned from cruising completely, or just royal, or just let it slide and don't let it happen again?
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you're referring to the story where the guy was in Nassau, Bahamas, right? And he jumped off the ship, right? That's
Yeah,
this jumping.
yeah,
Okay.
that's the jumper I'm talking about.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he should be banned from Royal Caribbean, of course. I mean, if you were going to do that on a cruise ship, you should be banned from Royal Caribbean. I think other cruise lines should also, I wouldn't say ban the person because he hasn't done it. He just done it on Royal Caribbean, but definitely, like the TSA, they should put him on like a warning list because, I mean, it was really silly what he did. He didn't do it because he was like mental problems. He just did it because it was a funny thing, which that's risking public service and safety and stuff teams doing to save this one guy who foolishly did it compared to them where it could be saving a guy who had a heart attack on the ship. So I
Yeah,
get why they debanned him. So, but yeah, that story was definitely blown out of proportion. But I mean, at the same time, it's very interesting how the whole thing went down. Hard to believe it was only a few years ago, which is just crazy how fast time flies.
oh yeah, it's believing. It's crazy. But like, and then I think it was about shortly before or after another story just got blown out of proportion, and I want to say maybe 6 months just passed. They actually ruled on that grandfather that
Oh yeah.
dropped his grandchild off, I think, into the water, or onto the deck below.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, very sad situation that happened there. It shouldn't have happened, but was that the right move that occurred?
Yeah, the thing without that story too, from someone who watches the industry, the media hopped on blaming the cruise line first, but then the whole thing played out. Like again, as I always say with my show, we're gonna have to wait and see how the story plays out. Because some stories you get
Yeah,
like, oh my goodness, some guy gets jumped off a ship. Sometimes a guy could have fell off the ship. Like for example, if a kid fell off the ship, they blamed Royal Caribbean for allowing an open pool deck. Which if I've been on that ship and the splash pad that the parent was claiming is the good 20 feet away. It's impossible to have a kid fall out that window. So I knew there was something that the Royal Caribbean was going to win the case because there was no way that that grandfather or the grandkid, I should say, walked up and fell off the thing on her own more with Royal
yeah,
Caribbean's fault. So yeah.
and of course, and I totally agree with what you say on your show. Let's see how it all plays out, because when someone tells me one story, I always have to do the back check and make sure what they're saying makes sense, and make sure everything all makes sense. Because there's more to it than one side, of course.
Yeah.
But
I totally agree. Okay, Rob, I'm gonna
yeah,
not leave. I'll be right back in a second. I have to go switch out programs because my computer's having a little issue, but I'll be right back in a second. So I'll just pop
yeah,
off to the green room. So
yeah, no problem. And Tyler will be back very shortly as he's flipping his green screen. But yeah, like I was talking about with the tracking devices, my answer is just to have it vented onto you, so you're forced to have it on you at all times and use it as your force of payment and all that. And of course, I'm one of them. I would love to have collect the cards, so maybe they can maybe make a card for you or something. But let's see what can happen there. And getting down towards the bottom of the hour with only 15 minutes left to go, I would like to invite you, if you guys would like to, join my Facebook group. You can do by joining this link here attached. It is coming up right now. Right there, you can see the Facebook link that you can join my live stream for Facebook. And let's welcome Tyler back on in. Welcome back. Can you hear Tyler?
Thanks for having me. And once again, sorry for that. I was using OBS to run the video feed. I'm here. You can hear me?
Yep,
Take
I
it.
can
Hang
hear
out.
you.
Yeah. So sorry for that. I had to go switch programs. It was giving my computer some problems with the CPU. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you as we were saying earlier before I had to hop off for a second with the whole entire cruise news being blown out of proportion. But
Yep, but it's crazy. So what? So what days do you guys go
did you
live?
also hear
Or
the story, Rob, about Holland America restarting?
I don't think I heard that one yet.
Okay, yeah. So I plan to go live every single Friday. Yeah, so usually go live every single Friday at 5 o'clock. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break this week's look like. 'Cause I try to go live every single Friday at 5 o'clock, and when I can, I try to go live at Sunday at 2 o'clock to recap the whole entire cruise news for the whole entire week. Yeah, so that's my uploading schedule with live streams so far, and also if I do film a video, it'll come out randomly throughout the week. So stay tuned for that. So
That's fantastic. Great. Yeah, no, but not, for that Whole America, I didn't hear anything about them on their restarts. The old
yeah,
ones have been
supposedly they're
really
going to be
fault.
restarting. Sorry, I was going to
Go
say. I
ahead.
was going to say they're going to be
Go
restarting
ahead.
sailings. Yeah, supposedly they're going to be restarting sailings on 8 ships, 6 ships actually, out of 2 ports, San Diego and Fort Everglades, or Port Everglades, I should say. Those 2 ships, again, I can't pronounce the names of these ships because I butcher them. I'll probably be there pronouncing the names until they actually do set sail. It's all American names, of course. They're very, very long, anyhow. So they're going to be starting sailings on 6 ships out of 2 ports here in the U.S., San Diego and Port Everglades. I believe out of Port Everglades is going to be 3 ships actually doing sailings, and out of 3 ships. So 3 ships in each port. 3 out of San Diego and 3 out of Fort Lauderdale.
That's great. Yeah, yeah. Because the only ones I've typically been following so far is just the three big major cruise lines: Royal, uh, Carnival, and of course, oh, the other one. Can't think of the other one, but the three top cruise lines.
So I got a
Those are
question
the
for you.
three.
Where do you get your news from? It's just curious. People get their sources from.
I get it from a whole bunch of sources. I watch some other creators and see what they're talking about for the day. Sometimes I'll surf the internet, and sometimes if I'm lucky, I get some stuff off of the headlines on the news and stuff. When the news is blowing stuff out of proportion, so it all varies.
Mm-hmm. I'm
May
always
I
curious
ask
who
what?
people get their channel, their information from, because I get mine from Cruise, and this is my main place. I get all the information from daily, very reliable. But cruiseindustrynews.com, that's where I get my news from.
Okay, yeah.
That's a great place. If
I've
you're looking for all industry coverage, doesn't matter the line, they definitely have great coverage there.
Yeah, that's where I sometimes will lean off to too. Like I kind of spread mine out completely, but I do look into other creators and see
Hmm.
what they talk about. And of course, I don't want to copy exactly, not like word for word, but kind of take what I got from them and put my own little twist into it and give what I think what's going on there. Because of course, my thoughts is different from your thoughts,
Hmm.
different from Jay from the Ship Life's thoughts. We all have different views of how cruising is going to restart and what's happening. And that's the one thing I
Yep.
love about this industry is we all have our own views, and we may be right, we may be wrong, but we're pretty accurate on what's happening.
Totally agree with you there.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, you are in the state of Florida. Is that
Yes, I
correct?
am in Orlando, Florida. Yep, in Orlando. So about an hour and a half from Port Canaveral, and I think an hour and a half from Tampa. So right smack dab in the middle in Orlando.
So when you go cruising, I'm assuming it's always out of Port Canaveral, or do
Most
you
of the
change
time
it
it
up?
is. Yeah, most of the time it's Port Canaveral just because Port Canaveral has the biggest ships. We usually sometimes, if there's a good deal or if there's a nice new ship, we'll head out of Miami. But most of the cruises are out of Port Canaveral. I've done a lot of them out of Tampa. The problem with Tampa is a really small port and a lot of
Yep.
smaller, older ships. So we like to stick towards the newer ships. So that's why we head over to Port Canaveral for most of the cruises.
Yep. I agree with you because with my very first cruise back in 2018, it was on the Norwegian Dawn, a beautiful ship. I actually enjoyed that ship a lot. But when it came down time to disembark the ship, they had to bring U.S. Customs onto the ship and into a dining room for us to clear customs. Where when we went out of Port Canaveral, everything was done in the port off the ship, and it
Hmm.
just felt much more better of a smooth of process.
Yeah. Yeah, Port Canaveral definitely very high tech, especially nowadays with customs. Customs nowadays in Port Canaveral, I think almost all their terminals have this. It's facial recognition, so
Yeah,
you just walk in there because somehow they have a passport. It's synced already, so you just basically walk in front of the camera, and then it lets you into the country, which is pretty cool.
yeah, it is. Like,
Very fast too.
and it speeds things up. But what I'm interested in finding out, and maybe you might know the answer, but it's okay if you don't, is how do they do the back-to-back cruisers?
I know before COVID, you would meet, I believe, yeah, you would meet at a venue, and you would head all meet together. They would give you your new key cards to get on the ship. You would exit the gangway, go through customs, clear customs, and then immediately head right back on the ship. You don't have to do any check-in because you already checked in for your first sailing, so same information. And then you just head immediately back on the ship. So you would meet at, again, to recap it, you would meet at the said venue on the ship. You'll get new key cards. Then you'll walk through customs after you exit the ship, of course. Then walk straight back on the gangway, re-sign yourself in with the key card onto this ship, and then you're free to do whatever you want for the rest of the day. And usually with back-to-back cruises, they usually offer a free included breakfast, or I should say lunch in the main dining room instead of heading to the Windjammer for lunch.
Yeah, nice, yeah, because like I don't know if I did say it on this live stream, but in my previous live streams, I do actually have a back-to-back coming on up in next September.
Yeah, it will be
I
interesting to see how they do it with the whole virus thing because I know they are allowing back to backs. Now, remember earlier in the industry they were supposedly the CDC said no back to backs, but now supposedly they allowed if you're fully vaccinated, you're allowed to do back to backs again. So we'll be interested to see how they do it with everything. I'm just interested to see how much of the cruise experience actually does change when we get back. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking forward to that too. And let's hope that cruising is it. I know it's not going to be the same, but let's hope it's pretty close to the same as when we left it back in 2020. So let's
Yeah,
hope
I
everything's all
really
the
hope
same
so.
because it would.
I've seen some footage from the adventure of the season. It's really close. So hoping it will be
Yeah,
just like the adventure and very close.
yeah, and that was a so. It sounded like that was a very good cruise to be on. But unfortunately, with me being up here in Canada, that just wasn't a possibility to pull that one off. As
Yeah. I was originally
it,
booked on adventure for the summer. Not that a first sailing. I was booked, I believe, like July the 31st. But we had to cancel that just due to unrelated things to the virus. So we just had to cancel it. So I was hoping to get on there, but
yeah, but hopefully for us in July, with us being fully vaccinated plus 2 weeks,
mhm.
we can start to travel and have to only do our quarantine until we get our tests back. that we're clear to roam the city again. Because
Is
right now we have a 14-day quarantine, and 3 of the days have to be in a governized hotel. So we're trying to get
yeah,
rid
correct me
of
if I'm
that.
wrong, but with the Canadian quarantine, fully vaccinated, you can skip it, or you have to still quarantine and get a test. But if you, yeah, so
Yeah, for us, it is as long as you've been fully vaccinated, plus 2 weeks. When you come back into the country, you still gotta be tested, but you can quarantine at home
okay. But
until
after
you
you get that
receive.
negative test, you can go on your way. You don't have to
Yeah,
wait. Okay.
yeah. Where if you're not fully vaccinated, it's $2,000 in a governized hotel plus your 14 days
Yeah, that's expensive.
upon
Yeah, two
upon
thousand.
actually of the country. So really, the only benefit we're getting out of it is we're losing the money and the additional days towards your
Mm-hmm.
14. So that's a great benefit for us.
It does sound great. Good to hear
Yeah.
that.
So let's hope it passes and hopefully people can get vaccinated. And of course, I'm not going to ask if you're vaccinated. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
share it, that's great. But my opinion is, and let me know what your thoughts on it too, is the best way is to get vaccinated. So when it comes to cruising, you won't be set to any restrictions that the cruise lines want to set out.
Yeah, totally agree. Because looks like fully vaccinated again. Looks like free cruising back to normal. Especially Carnival, they're claiming with the Mardi Gras, 100% vaccinated, or at least 95%. And yeah, normal cruising, no mask, no distancing. Somehow Carnival did say they're still going to limit social gatherings on board. But yeah, it looks like pretty much back to normal cruising on most Carnival ships. So
Yep. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go because we're getting to the top of the hour, and before I know it, my supper will be ready.
all right, Rob, it was great talking with you, and thanks for having me on the program.
Yep, no problem. And you are welcome to come join me anytime you wish. If you want to just set yourself up for a particular day, just send me an email in the description bar down below in all my videos and live streams, or just pop on up when we have the lives. So thank
Will
you for
do. Great
coming on.
talking with you. Take it
You
easy.
too. And thank you, Tyler, for coming on out to my live stream today. And just before I wrap everything all up, if you have not joined the Facebook group yet and you do wish, please do click on the link in the description bar. And of course, if you would like to help out this community, please consider joining this channel if you haven't yet already and ringing the bell. And if you like what you are seeing in my videos and live streams and you would like to help support this channel, please do consider joining my Patreon group or PayPal. And you can send the links are, whoops, give me 1 second. I just clicked on the link and I didn't want to do that. You can do that by clicking on the links below. It is totally optional if you would like to do that. It is not mandatory, but all help and support is greatly appreciated. But the best support is by you smashing that like button, subscribing, and ringing the bell. Well, I'm going to wrap up this live stream up for you all today. I would like to thank you all for coming on out. And until next time, I will see you on the high seas. Bye for now.